Hey Scorpios, and welcome to your November 2018 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. As such a concentration of energy comes into your experience in this month of 2018, I feel like you are perhaps at a crossroads or really deciding about big changes to make in your life or beginning to adapt to new changes that have happened. This is where the energy peaks this year. This is where everything that you've been working on, where everything that has cropped up and everything that has become a potent part of your experience becomes settled, understood, and ready. Like ready to be solved, ready to be utilized in a new way. So you have a really big injection of energy. Obviously, as we know, Venus is retrograde in your sign, and that's happening from October 5th to November 16th. So for the first half of the month, you are dealing with a Venus retrograde. By that period in time, it will be into Libra, but it started to go like retrograde in your sign. So it carries the energy of Venus retrograde in Scorpio. And then by that halfway point, it will be moving direct once more, and then it will transit through Scorpio throughout like the rest of November. You also have Jupiter finally this month changing signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on November 8th. So the first week, especially of November, really culminates that energy of Jupiter and Scorpio that you've been having for the last year. So everything that has happened to you over the last year, all of the changes, all of the growth, all of the expansion, regardless of whether that be expansion of what you consider like a good or a bad situation, that comes to a peak here, and you can see a new ability to make a decision and a new transition, a new life that those parts of your life will take on. So a new life of your life comes in around the time of November 8th, where Jupiter transitions into Sagittarius. And I do feel that, with as Scorpionic and Plutonian as this fall is, as this November is, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to decide, is this the right situation for me? Am I coping in a healthy way? Am I making decisions that give to the momentum that I actually want in my life? On one hand, it's a really good train of thought for you, Scorpio, but it's also quite constraining. I do feel you to be healthy, yes, lots of energy to work with, lots of potency. But I also feel you to be constrained and held and fixated by your own needs and your own necessity to like see yourself get to a certain level or come to a certain place. So you have a lot of major arcana cards in your reading for this month. I'm not surprised with all of that Scorpio energy. You have Death, the Hanged Man, the World, the Sun, and the Hierophant as your major arcana. So usually whenever there are three or more in a reading, I say that it's going to be a month to remember, and it's going to be probably one of the more prominent months of your year. You also have Eight of Cups and Page of Cups, which are both can be quite Scorpionic energies as well, especially that Eight of Cups. Interesting to see Eight of Cups reversed as your central theme this month. Lots of situations and endings and closures being accentuated by this energy, and sort of wanting an end, wanting to be done with a situation, wanting to at least take a situation to a next level and have the way your life has been over the last year change in some way. So I feel like a lot of Scorpios are in their current situation coming out of October into November, feeling like I can't keep this up. I can't continue the way that things are right now. There's even perhaps a bit of resentment towards the self for having gotten into this type of situation or having fed into a situation the way that you have. It could kind of feel like all of the time in 2018 kind of got funneled into a spiral, and you're like, where did all of that go? I had a lot more things to do and I didn't quite do what I needed to do. There's also a tendency towards escapism here, but it's not bad. This could be a month where it's time to leave. This could be a month where it's time to make a change for you. I didn't really think it was the best idea, for example, when Jupiter was retrograde in Scorpio. I didn't think that that was the best idea to have any type of escapist fantasy, or to think, okay, I can leave this situation and leave these problems behind, because perhaps there was a tendency for them to reemerge in the new situation in sort of a congruent way. But it's going to be different for different Scorpios, because you can really interpret this both ways. It's not that your problems will reemerge in a congruent way if you leave your current situation, but there could still be a feeling of that decision process being undercooked in hindsight. As your energy to me still feels to be cooking. Like it feels like we're still a bit undercooked. It feels like our decision making process, like what we're trying to do with our lives, the changes that we want to make, if we are too quick in November, they can feel too quick. And that's kind of hard to think about because I think most Scorpios have sort of been feeling like they've overstayed their welcome in some way, or I've stayed too long, like I'm overcooked in some way in this current situation. So to combat that, I feel like a move or a change of pace can work as long as you've been thinking about it for a long time, like even like pre-Jupiter in Scorpio, so like mid and early 2017. If this is a plan that has been working out since then, I feel like it's a go, like it's good to do. But if it's something that's come up really recently, I would just definitely make sure that you have everything in order, because you can leave something in November and be upset that you did. There's a sense of resenting a quick decision on leaving something behind. Eight of Cups reversed, your central theme, just says be careful for walking away too haphazardly or sort of storming out. Like I do feel like that's the energy of storming out and being like, gosh, I really didn't have to do that. I did not have to be so dramatic. I could have made that a lot slower and easy. If you do find yourself having to change a situation, do not take things too fast. Allow yourself slowness, allow yourself fluidity in your departures, okay? It is a departing month. Like November is a month of departures for Scorpio. And it doesn't have to be something grand. It doesn't have to be something huge like, okay, I'm going to move countries or I'm going to completely change my life. Some of you will do that. But all of the departures will happen within. All of the departures will happen outside of your external world. So inside of you. So you'll see that, okay, my body has departed from needing this addiction, or my emotions have departed from needing this type of codependent relationship in my life. I've departed from needing to self-sabotage myself. Those are the blessings and the beauty of this month. As you're given everything that you need to leave something behind, I've said time and time again throughout this Jupiter and Scorpio transit, this is the time of your life every 12 years when Jupiter goes into Scorpio for you to leave things behind and for you to quit something. So if you have like a self-sabotage habit or a harsh dialogue with yourself that's become a habit, or, you know, you need a certain routine to make you feel stable in your environment, like you can really change those things up. You can really let go of anything that's destructive in that way. And this is going to be like that first week of November is sort of the last chance. So really be thinking as you're moving from October into November, what do I need to let go of? What do I no longer need in my life? What like internal mechanisms are causing me harm? Because you're going to really be able to still easily let go of them in the first week. Jupiter in Sagittarius, it is also not the hardest energy to let go of things or to stop habits or to stop anything which is destructive, but it's a bit more of a explosive energy, so those things can become more rebounding, or it's more destructive, the way that we let go of things. So if there's a lot of things built up and you go from like Jupiter in Scorpio to Jupiter in Sagittarius and you've not let go of those things during the Jupiter in Scorpio time, you still can during Jupiter in Sagittarius. But it's a much more explosive form of letting go that can cause a lot more damage if you're not careful. And then by Jupiter in Capricorn, things lock in. So things become like really difficult to let go of by that point in time. So yes, Jupiter, Scorpio, Jupiter, Sag, both of those transits allow you to let go and to get past things, move past addictions, move past negative cycles of sabotage or vicious cycles of any kind. Jupiter and Scorpio, it's easier. Jupiter and Sag, it's a little harder. And then Jupiter and Capricorn, it's really locked in. So just keep that in mind as you are experiencing this transition of Jupiter energy in this month. This is a wonderful month to find a new connection to spirit, or a new connection to spirituality, kind of revamping your spirituality, revamping your connection to nature and your experience. Because I'm seeing with like the Hierophant reversed, Death reversed, the Sun reversed, what has been bringing you spiritual fulfillment is not delivering the same type of fulfillment anymore. So there could be a tendency towards a bit of gray zone, feeling a bit empty, feeling a bit inconsolable in some way. And then right after that, there's like this sort of explosive like saturated feeling, like whoa, I'm all of a sudden I'm feeling all of these things so strong. Like the senses are very dulled and then activated in Scorpio this month, so it's like a bit volatile. And I feel that that's happening because your connection to something greater, your connection to something bigger than yourself, has become not as powerful as it used to be. So things that happen to you which are unexpected or planned, that have a big punch in your life, really hit home and really hit hard because there's not really anything beyond you that is connecting to you. So everything is heavier. Every mistake that you make is more punished by you. Every victory, on the other hand, is also more enjoyed, but you get too connected to needing to see yourself win something or needing to see yourself succeed. And when that doesn't happen, you really tear yourself down because there's no connection to anything bigger. Or if there is that connection, it needs revamping. It needs like a remodeling. It needs a restructuring. And it's going to be important to start with your emotions, to start with an emotional rebirth. Like that Page of Cups really jumps out at me in your reading. You are feeling once more. You are going to be having your heart on your sleeve more, not being secretive, not lying. Not a good month for Scorpio to be secretive or to lie. A really great month to be very direct and to not be over subtle in your mechanisms, for sure. And it's going to be so important to surround yourself with some type of softness this month. Nothing harsh, nothing painful, nothing forcibly consuming you that is a hard situation. It really feels like Scorpio has the choice. And Scorpio, if Scorpio is in pain or if Scorpio is suffering in this month, it's a choice. And it's going to be important that if people want you to suffer, or if you're around people who are very destructive, to be able to step back and to be able to make the appropriate reactions to that type of situation, and to maybe not even like worry too much about what's going on outside of you. I will say, Scorpio, your energy is a little bit hard to get into, and a little bit it's deciding, like it's deliberating. It knows that there's such an injection within itself. It knows that there's such an energizing happening, so it's like deliberating how it wants that to be, and that's going to be so individual to each Scorpio. In fact, I know someone in my life who is a moon in Scorpio, who is also quite spiritual and quite like astrologically intelligent, and they said that for this month they were more concerned with the transits of their pillows in their bed than with the transits in the sky. And perhaps that it really is the best thing for Scorpionic people this month. Allowing yourself to be concerned with something that's more soft. Pillows, hello. Something that's more soft and not really investing all of the potentials in your life into any one thing, really. Rethinking, redeliberating what your purpose is, what your calling is, because that can shift here. And it can at least start to shift, because Jupiter is all about purpose, all about passion, all about calling. And when it changes signs, that can change internally as well, especially when it's changing signs from like one of your like sun signs or something. So for like all Scorpios, you're going to be feeling a shift in purpose, and also a shift in like your luck and just the way that your body is functioning. There's just going to be such a strong shift, and I really don't want to define it strongly for any of you. I'm just going to give you some of the potentialities of what could happen based on it, but really allow yourself to define your own shift right now. Make your own shift, Scorpio. Make your own paradigm. Make your own life. Don't rely on the subtleties and signals of other people. I talked about some of this in Cancer's reading, and I'm actually proud that it's coming up in your reading as well. Not a great time to rely on subtleties. Okay? Not a good time to try to read people and to make decisions based on a subtle impression that you're receiving. It's an important time to be direct, and an important time to solve problems. Like Scorpio is all about solving problems. It's very formulaic and equational. Like Scorpio and Gemini, oddly enough, have this in common, where if like Scorpio's in a relationship or in a career and they can't understand what the other person is doing, or they can't understand where this career gets them, they can't solve the equation, that's when things get chaotic, because Scorpio gets so jilted by not being able to solve, because it makes Scorpio look within and think, why can't I know? What within me is incapable of solving this situation? So then your entire life can start to deteriorate. So be direct. Stop needing to have equations based on subtleties. You're in a relationship. You're trying to take a relationship to the next level, for example. Don't take like a subtle facial expression or a subtle voice tone and think that means this. that means that this person doesn't want me in this way, even though they've never said such things. Like, you're just kind of allowing their demeanors, like, because I'm feeling like those things are elusive right now. It's like someone has a bad voice tone or a bad facial expression. It's like actually about something that they're going through, and actually about like their work frustration or about their own energy levels, but you think that it's about you, or you think that it's a reaction to your place in their life. Ask them point blank, like you see the bad facial expression, or you see that they're speaking to you in a tone that's really disrespectful. What does that tone mean? You know, like, and that can cause conflict. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. When you do that, when you're direct in that way with someone, it can upset them. But that's going to be important too, because there's an energy of people kind of being upset also with Scorpio, but it's going to be important to see how you can solve those problems. Like, that's a good equation for you to solve right now. Like, can you be direct, and can you call people who are hurting your feelings, like, out on what they've done, and then come to like a consensus together? More so than you think, Scorpio. I feel like you're still a little bit traumatized from the past, where there could just never be a middle ground, or things could just never be solved. But you'd be surprised about how much Jupiter in this way is on your side, and really giving you a nice blessing and fortune and benevolence on the ability to solve toxic cycles in your life. So for the first time, you can be in a relationship where you can just call someone out directly on something that hurts your feelings, and they understand, and you have a dialogue, and you solve the problem. That is possible here. I've seen it a lot, actually, even in my own experience. And I've known other Scorpios who have been quite surprised at, like, wow, for once in my life, I can just kind of be direct. And I don't have to base my life on the subtleties and distinguish all of these multifaceted complexities within the other person. Like, I can just speak my mind. And you'll see that when you do that, all of a sudden something becomes a problem. All of a sudden there's a fear, there's a twinge, but it ripples and it like disappears and a consensus is reached. And if it's not, that's the answer to your question, that it's time to look the other direction. Okay. Is this a month where Scorpio can feel betrayed in some way? It can be. It can be, but it's for a purpose. It's because the only thing that makes Scorpio be betrayed during this month, you know, you have like the Hanged Man, you have Death, you have the Sun reversed, the Hierophant reversed, Eight of Cups. All of those can kind of speak of mistruths, you know, a fear of secrets or a fear of being lied to, even if you're not. Like you're afraid of not being able to see things clearly, or you're afraid that you're going to change the wrong thing. So with that, to me, comes a fear of like people taking advantage of you, or a fear of being betrayed by someone. It only happens if that person needed to not be in your life. It could be kind of a test. You know, the universe is kind of like, will you honor yourself? Will you build a life where self-respect, at least on some level, is yours? Where are you at least respecting yourself with the dialogues or direct things that you bring up in your communication with others? You know, you can't control other people. You can't control the decisions that other people make, regardless of how close they are to you. But you can control how you respect yourself in relation to that situation. And I do feel like there's something that kind of scared you, you know, like back in maybe like a mid-October or late October, there was something that made you feel like, wow, to stay in this situation, I really have to not respect myself. I really have to face an insecurity head on, or I have to really wallow in some type of insecurity that I've had for a long time, and this other person is not really caring to deal with that or caring to respect that in any way, and like my insecurity becomes about them. Lots of things like that, but this month should really solve it. Like this month should really change that. Either the situationship or relationship or whatever ends, or there's a concession that comes and it goes to a next level. Try to not be disappointed in either situation. Also, super long reading. We're already almost at 20 minutes and I haven't even gotten into the week to week, but the last intuitive message that's coming forward before I get into the week to week is don't underestimate how much energy you get here. We've been talking about energy sources all year. Where do you get your energy from? It comes back here. Jupiter finishes in Scorpio. It energizes those last few degrees and you're given a lot of energy. So have something in mind to channel that, you know, exercising or starting the new project or taking your health to the next level, like really giving yourself a routine to work with. It's going to be the last echo of those things which I've been saying for a while now. And it's important to work with it and reach halfway to it, because it is reaching halfway to you. Like I really feel the universe to be reaching halfway. So if there is anything in your life which feels really despondent or hard to deal with, as long as you don't want to wallow in it, or as long as you reach halfway, you will be taken out of anything that is really not good for you in the long term. Okay, Scorpios, but I'm going to go ahead and get into the week to week, and we will see what more specifically is coming up for you. In the first week of November, you have the Hanged Man rooted down by death reversed. So that's not really beautiful energy. It's a culmination of what all you've had to face this year. So you've already kind of come past it, and I'm hearing from my guides that this isn't something that has to be difficult. That's what I heard. This isn't something that has to be difficult, whatever it is that comes up in the first week. It's a reminder of how far you've come. It's a reminder of, wow, last time I was in this situation, I did not handle that well. I could not cope. But now I'm here again, and this isn't something that has to be that hard. You might feel like people in your life are holding you back, or you might feel like you want something from somebody, or you need a type of validation from somebody, and they just will not give that to you. There's a sense of like really clawing your way into someone giving you something, or into someone giving you something that you deserve, perhaps, and it's hard to get. And in a way, needing that so badly is resisting transformation. Death reversed is rooting that down. So what you're desperately needing from your partner, what you're desperately needing from your career, what are those things? And when did you need those before? And how did that really turn out for you? Is this something that you need so badly? Can we focus this energy into something which gives you more in the long run? Can we focus this energy into something that actually shows you rising from the ashes? Because that is kind of that's an ashy energy in the first week. And I see throughout the rest of the month, there's a very much like rising from the ashes energy. So it's a Phoenixian cycle that you may have found yourself in here. Just really beware in the first week of falling into old meanness or falling into old sharpness towards other people, which doesn't really give you much, okay? In the second week of November, you have the World rooted down by Page of Cups. That's beautiful. That's beautiful energy. I don't see anything negative there. I see like such an end to emotional coldness. Not needing to be passive aggressive anymore. Not needing to be cold or icy to people to just prove your power. Okay, so you are becoming more warm in the second week of November, and I think that that's really beautiful. And becoming more aware of what you want. What a blessing for Scorpio. Because I feel like a lot of the difficulty for you that had difficulty during Jupiter and Scorpio came from not really knowing what you want, or not really knowing like what direction to go. You're like, I know I need to go somewhere, but there's sort of a void here and I can't really find it. Second week of November, things click into place. Your emotions become much more congruent with what's good for you and what's helping you at a spiritual level. Okay, week number 3, the Hierophant reversed, rooted down by the Sun reversed. What I'm hearing, actually, it's interesting how clairaudient this reading is. I'm hearing a very clear message that says, I am okay with there being certain things that I don't need to see. I don't need to see everything in order to feel that I see myself. Okay, Scorpio, when it's functioning in a bit of a lower evolution, will force themselves to see the details of everything. It can be an eavesdropping energy. It goes through the messages of their partners. It goes through belongings. It goes through things to like make sure that it's not being fooled. Such a fear, not even a fear of like being cheated on, not even a fear of being taken advantage of or betrayed in some way, but a fear of not knowing it. Okay, Scorpio? A fear of not being in the loop. And of course, it's not to say that those things happening to you or something which you consider to be a betrayal happening to you is not troublesome to you. And of course, if that happens, you would want to know and you would need to make the appropriate actions. But there's a fine line here, because you can see that things which remind you of a past trauma where you were betrayed and that are like reminiscent of that now, so you feel like you need to go back into that investigative mode of seeing everything. Like, I've got to make sure that I'm aware of everything. I've got to really track things down here and make sure that I'm not being betrayed. because, I'm respecting myself now, and it would not be respecting of myself to not know that I'm being put through a bad situation. Here's the thing, Scorpio always knows. Scorpio is not a sign that gets taken advantage of for long. In fact, like, that's kind of one of the blessings of Pluto being ruling energy within an individual, is that if that person is taken advantage of, or if that person is really strung out in some way by someone else, the Plutonian energy will really push that person right out of your life. So you will see, yes, that if that starts to happen, all of a sudden, I don't want to be with that person anymore. All of a sudden, that person doesn't want to be with me anymore. That's the Plutonian energy expanding from within you and pushing out anything which seeks to betray you in a really deep way. And the tender point of that is you're not always going to know the details. Scorpio can be cathartic with knowing the details of how someone has hurt them. So it's like, you're like, well, I would almost rather see what they did to me, or like know what exactly it was that they did to me, than have them like leave my life. What's that about, Scorpio? You've got to like realize, like, if someone cheated on you, or if someone did something really bad to you or betrayed you, it's better for them to go than for you to know the nitty gritty details of it and to like hurt yourself over and over again by wallowing in that nastiness, But yes, to narrow that back down to the third week of November, be okay with not knowing everything, with not being an all-knowing being, okay? Some of you may even try to look to spirituality to show you some of these nasty details which you can't seem to find yourself. And that's where it becomes a problem. That's where spirituality becomes toxic. That's where even this type of thing that I do, and I try to always keep it in a healthy space, but are you coming to YouTube tarot readings to try to see something about the toxic people in your life that's just a detail and doesn't determine anything for your actual future? It's better to come to this type of thing trying to see like what changes I need to make in my life, or what things I don't need to change, versus is this person cheating on me, or is this person doing something bad in my life? Is there another woman? Is there another man? And like not really having any follow through with that, just wanting to know whether there is or not. Because that's the thing, like, Scorpios, look back to your past. You know when that happens. You know when that's the case. And you also see that when that happens, that person doesn't last very long in your experience anymore. Whether it's because you stop liking them or they stop liking you. And that can be sad, that can be tragic, especially like when you've been betrayed and then all of a sudden the person doesn't like you anymore. But like, what's that about, Scorpio? You see, this is the spider web, the Scorpio spider web. You're like, wow, I've been cheated on. I want to make this work. I want to make this relationship work now. I didn't care about it that much before, but now that I've been hurt, I want to make it work. It's time to look at that and to see that, some things are better unseen. Some things are better unaffected in your life. Fluidity, flexibility. Okay, this person betrayed me. Now they don't want to be with me. That's okay. That's okay. I can aim my sights to another direction, another path. I don't need that toxicity in my life. I don't need this type of self-sabotage, really. And how self-respecting is it for me to be so scared of something like that? I'm so caught up in in themes of self-respect. Scorpio is so caught up in self-respect right now, and they're more concerned about what the other person does that's bad to them and how it's not self-respectful for them to continue that or to indulge that, then the even like self-respect issue of wanting to be there in the first place or wanting to make it work. I hope that makes sense. I know that's extremely complicated. Even my head hurts, Scorpio. You and Cancer's reading this month has been so like complex and so long, but I think that you all understand what I'm getting at there, and I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the next message. But that's an important thing for you right now that you are evolving out of, is the need to see everything, even if it hurts you. How it's not always respectful of the self to know something might be happening, but have to see those details anyway. On a more mundane level, for those of you who might not be going through that, or have kind of come past that, the third week is a wonderful time to be experiencing new types of spirituality, new types of connections in your life, seeing your home and your environment in a more lively way. So making your home lifelike, breathing life into your home, breathing life into your experience. That's like the best way to use that energy in the third week, is how can I make more life around me? Okay, Death reversed is in your reading. Eight of Cups reversed is in your reading. Eight of Cups is kind of like a minor arcana death card. And it's also an 8, which is a Scorpio number. So this is a month of life, Scorpio, not a month of death. Death is reversed. Now isn't a month to really even think about endings or to even think about what you need to cut back or what you need to purge. It's not a month of purge. It's not a month of pruning your spiritual leaves. This is a month of growth, a month of consuming, a month of taking in, okay? And I talked a lot in the beginning of this reading about endings and like, is it a false ending? Is it right? Is this closure? But I'm realizing now as I've come further in the reading, it's simply a month of life. It's not a month of death or running away or escapism. And if you have to leave a situation, it's not about that process of leaving. It's about what you breathe in afterwards, okay? Week number 4, you have 2 of Wands rooted down by Knight of Swords. Simply enough, you might have to move fast in the 4th week. Like, that's saying to me that quick movement, quick decisions are good. Not so much in the first 3 weeks of November, but once you get towards that last week, quick decisions are fine. Like, you think, okay, I need to make a move. I need to take in a new type of life into my into my life. Again, like life on life. I keep doing these sentences and these articulations of spirit that have me saying like life 3 or 4 times in a sentence without even realizing it and kind of like grammatically incorrect. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think that it's just life this month. And the 4th week, you're going to have an influx of energy. You feel much stronger. You feel much more healthy. You have more options. And quickness is okay. You know, steadfastness is okay as well. Anything that deals with quick movement or quick evolution, quick rising is good. You can be a bit impulsive, a bit spontaneous, not without measuring it. You know, Knight of Swords is always like, measure what you're doing, but it's okay to do it quickly too. For a small percentage of you, that is a week where you do have to leave. It's not about escaping. It's not about running away, but it's about realizing, okay, I can't have life here. I can't have life experience where I currently am. I'm going to change that. That could be for some of you. That's a more small percentage of you though. For most Scorpios, I feel that 4th week energy is about allowing yourself the freedom to think otherwise, to think of a new situation, to think of like, how can this environment that I'm in have more life? How can I thrive more in this environment? And you're really given the answers. Like, I feel like Scorpio throughout this entire year, like that's where your head has been. Like, how can I have more life here? And it's sort of been perplexing. But by the 4th week of November, it becomes clear, it becomes obvious, and you become strong through allowing clear, obvious realities to come in. And also by allowing yourself not to tear your own self up by wallowing in the depths of what could be a betrayal or what could be a bad situation. If it becomes that, Scorpio, Pluto will come in, the universe will come in and pull you out. And you will be safe. You don't have to fear. You don't have to worry. You don't have to overexert or overextend yourself. This month, you are blessed. You are protected. Last sort of energy of Jupiter and Venus in your sign this month. Enjoy what part of that you can, because for some of you, very fortunate, very lucky energy, lots of money coming in for some of you. I don't see money being an issue for many of you at all. Like, it's sort of like a side topic. I didn't really talk about that any in this reading, and that's okay. That's not going to be an issue. Maybe not like the biggest amount, but for some of you, it could even be like really big, but again, a smaller percentage. But for none of you is it really like terrible, I feel. But anyway, Scorpios, I'm going to go ahead and conclude that there. Do take the time to check out your sun, moon, rising sign, because I feel that this reading is so vigorous. Like, the energy just feels vigorous to me, and it's kind of like hard to work with and hard to deal with. So perhaps finding a bit more lightness in your sun, moon, rising would do a world of good. I'll link that below. I'll also link below in the description box all of the transits which applied to you this year from my Transits 2018 series. So I'll have like Jupiter in Scorpio, Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio, Venus retrograde in Scorpio, and anything else like Uranus and Taurus perhaps. I'll link those below so you can maybe do some reflection or go back to some of those energies and really put that energy to rest for you. Also, if you want to click the center of your screen, if this reading was great for you, you can look to my Patreon page if you would like to support my channel or receive exclusive content and behind the scenes behind-the-scenes content that will be there. Also, your subscriptions, likes, and comments make my day. More content coming later, and into the new year, I will be doing some new things. So again, subscribe so you can see the changes which happen. Much love and light to you. I will be talking to you guys soon. Good luck with this last little bit of energy of Jupiter and Scorpio. Okay, bye.